Welcome one and all to the Mudai Manga Book Club podcast. Today's episode 19, The Life and Times of a Young Elf. My name is Louie, and I will not have an existential crisis about the passage of time again. Maybe. And I'm joined with my co-host.
No, but for real, guys, this time, there's definitely going to be something.
Tom?
I'm okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the show.
For anyone new, we do two topics every week. First one, we're going to talk about the things we've been watching, reading, listening to, all those kind of things in the past week. And then our main topic today will be a review of Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. This is going to cover just the first arc, which is the first 13 chapters, book 1, and a little bit of book 2. So, Tom, what have you been up to? What have you been enjoying, experiencing in your life related to the podcast?
Oh, I was going to say, I started taking some new drugs. And not that. Okay, not that. Got it. No, I haven't been taking new drugs. I've been taking them forever. No, wait, not that. So, a handful of different things. So, a couple of the ones that are good, but I can't talk about too much. Cipher Academy, Volume 6 just came out. The puzzle manga, it continues to be really good. The Virtual Academy challenge to get to the 50 billion morgue is still ongoing. There's some more oddball things in this, and the next book is the last one, so it's saying it's coming to an end. Kind of not 100% sure. Like, it feels like it's not going to be able to compress it into a book, but I don't really know.
Okay.
It's kind of jumping around. There's the longest part of it is this big mahjong battle arc. It's like 2 or 3 chapters. It's good. I think it's a little excessive, but
okay.
I'm also not super good at mahjong and Japanese language and all of that. So it's like some of the earlier word battles, but also it's mahjong at the same time. So it's really impossible to translate.
Yeah, you're already way past where I was when I was reading it.
It's still good. Out. Every couple of chapters, there's a really cool episode. There's some more great backstory about all the different characters. It's definitely good. I'm super excited for the final book. There's also some parts that's like, okay, this was fine, but also everything is spoilers. So yeah.
7 books is pretty good.
Yeah, 7 books is the end, and once they get to the bottom of the Virtual Academy, that is the end. It's the point of the whole series. So it's going to where it's supposed to go, but
hopefully it sticks the landing.
Yeah. I mean, it's Nishio Ishin, so it probably will.
That's right. I forgot it was him.
Yep, he's wrote it, and I forget who the artist is. He does a really good job, and there's some really good art in it as well.
The art's really good.
It's an excellent series. I have no idea how we'll talk about it on the show, but we should.
I have no idea. It's super complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I read Management of a Novice Alchemist, Volume 5. The light novel just came out. I've talked about this before. It's a nice little cozy alchemist story. You brought up a while ago, like, the Atelier series.
Yes.
It's basically the Atelier series if it was a light novel. Last time there was the cave spelunking adventure where a bunch of the characters got trapped underground for weeks. That was a really good one. This one is a winter adventure with royals and nobles. It's fun and enjoyable. It's not quite as good.
Okay.
But it's still a fun series. There's more intent of where it's going. Although I've also sort of found out, I think there's only really like 2 or 3 more books that exist. And I think it's been a couple years since the last one came out. So it might not be that many more, but it's fun. It's lighthearted. It's enjoyable.
And that's a light novel?
It's a light novel, yes.
Yeah.
There may also be a manga for it. I believe there is an anime for it as well.
Okay.
And I think the anime has come out in English. I have not seen that. I've just read the novels. They're fun. They're entertaining. Nothing super exciting, but nothing terrible. And the adventures are fun. After that, I read the first 6 volumes of Noragami, Stray Gods. That is interesting and hard to talk about.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
So it feels like a monthly. The illustrator is the same one who did Alive. which I've read the very beginning of, but not much more. But he's also writing it. It's basically about a god who nobody knows about or prays to, a Japanese god set in modern Japan, who nobody knows or prays to. So he's desperately trying to get people to pay attention to him so he can get a shrine and get all that. And there are all sorts of spirits and other things going on. It's kind of like Bleach if this whole Soul Society thing never happened. There are evil spirits that exist, and the gods and their divine weapons fight against them. But it's a lot more Japanese mythology and gods and how they work, but still kind of shonen, seinen action manga. The battles aren't crazy, but they're interesting, and the world is well put together. The characters are a lot of fun, and like they don't get along, but watching them like try to deal with all the things that they do to each other makes it a fun story. Book 6 is the end of the major arc with Bishamon, one of the 7 lucky gods. It's a good chunk of the story. It's a big arc. It's like a whole year in terms of the actual series, but it's been fun. I'm looking forward to more of it. Definitely good if you haven't checked it out. It's also 6 books, and it's hard to condense down to like 30 seconds of here's what's going on.
I think there's 27 so far.
Yep. The whole series is finished and available in English.
Oh, okay. It is done.
Yeah, I have it. I have the whole series. I got it as part of a big bundle, so I decided to finally pick it up and start reading it. And it's good. It's a monthly. There's a lot of really interesting characters and things going on that are going to continue into the next arc. Nothing's finished. There's a whole bunch of crazy things going on. And the battles, while they're not big and crazy, they only happen when there's a reason for there to be a cool battle. And they're usually short, but they're good.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's definitely fun. Gonna keep reading it.
Nice.
Couple other short ones that I can explain quickly because I can't explain anything. DanDaDan 13 came out. And I read this after one I'm going to talk about in a second because, yes, this is still, even though this is my number 2, I keep reading another one first. But it's really good.
I forget what happens in 13.
This continues to talk about Velza, her past, and then it goes into more of the invasion, and the big battle is fully ongoing.
Yep.
So I don't know when it ends, but it feels like next book is going to be the end, or an absolutely massive battle that's going to continue more than a whole book. It's still not the best that DanDaDan's been, but the last couple books, this whole arc has kind of been like, it's okay, it's interesting, it's fine, but it never really grabbed me. But this is like, okay, all right. I still kind of wish there was more of the goofy and the like characters interacting, because everyone's been separated and is all doing these fights, but the fights are really good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of balanced out.
Fight heavy arc.
Yeah, it's a big battle arc. And there's a lot of stuff that's been set up and is starting to pay off. So I'm enjoying it. I'm still super happy with it. It's just, it's been better. Yeah. So I'm hoping that 14 and where it goes from there will continue to be good. But I'm happy with it. I also read, because this is nice, Issak, books 4 and 5. Oh boy, Lorenzo, the other Japanese person in the story who Issak is chasing all the time, is an absolute freaking psychopath. Oh my god. Stuff happens in books 4 and 5 that's like, wait, this is where we're going? Oh, okay, this is crazy. There are some huge battles, again, which Issak does well. There's a lot of small battles, and book 5 is starting to set up the next major arc, but it's really good. I would say pretty much, because I mentioned it, there was like something in like book 3 where it's like, I didn't really like this part. 4 and 5, it's been home runs every chapter. It's a lot of fun, but not that there's so much spoilers, but it's, oh, this army attacks. Oh, Issak and Zeta try to get a shot off on Lorenzo and not die. Oh, Issak goes into this place and tries to not die and succeeds at not dying because the series is named after him. Yeah. And I say that again, like, even though it sounds like, oh, he's got plot armor. It's like, he doesn't really have plot armor. It's things happen, or it still costs him to get these victories. or something else happens that you couldn't really have expected, and even the people involved couldn't have expected, and it just works out in his favor so that he can continue to be part of this. But it's very good series. Art's still great. Action's still great. Really enjoying it. And then the last two, first one, I know there's an English title, but it's called Nanadai Tatarimasu no de Hayaku Kekkon shite Kudasai. I've read the first 6 chapters of this. I believe it's now that you're at the 7th generation, hurry up and get married.
Okay.
It's a seinen romantic comedy thing, and it's not available officially in English. I've been reading some fan translations. I saw someone on YouTube mentioned it. It's like, that's so stupid, I have to read this. Where a cat has cursed the main character's family for a reason. We don't have the exact details yet. He is the 6th generation, and he's now old enough that the cat will now tell him, because it's also his family cat, to get revenge for what his family did, is cursing 7 generations. So the cat needs him to hurry up and get married and have a child, so the cat can then curse that child, because after that, the cat will turn back into a lucky cat spirit instead of an evil curse cat. And yeah. But also, because it's a magical cat, the cat can turn into a person. And randomly, at the main character's grandfather's funeral, the last year the cat was there visiting in human form, the main character has now fallen in love with this girl and now finds out, oh, it was this unlucky cat who's trying to curse his family. So the cat is desperately trying to get him to hook up with his childhood friend, and he is desperately trying to hook up with the cat who's trying to curse him and his children.
Huh.
It's incredibly funny and stupid. And the first couple of chapters is just sort of like establishing this. Chapters 5 and 6, the mom comes back, who's of this bloodline.
Yeah.
And the curse is they're incredibly unlucky in love. So, like, it's extremely hard for them to continue this generation for the cat to then keep cursing them, because the curse makes them unlikely to get married. But they've made it to 6. It's like, oh, it's almost there. Almost done. But, like, now the mom is back. It's like, oh yeah, I know all about this. Oh right, you're 16. Now you get to find out about all this. Yeah. You should, yep, this is a real thing. This is going on. So like the mom, the son, and the cat are all just sitting in the living room talking. It's like, But then,
okay, it sounds weird.
Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is the moment where the obvious romantic thing happens of, due to a series of unfortunate incidents, you see the reason why the childhood friend, you see the history for why the childhood friend is super in love with the main character. And then through a series of completely crazy incidents, the main character then saves the cat in the same way as the childhood friend. You see the cat going like, oh shit, I like him now. Oh God, help me. It's about 18 chapters. It's like a 30-page monthly. Mm-hmm. It's not available in English at all officially yet. There is that, okay. But it's been real funny. It's been a really great series.
And what's the name again?
Nanadai Tatarimasu no de Hayaku Kekkon shite Kudasai.
Okay.
An English translation is, the curse will last for 7 generations, so please get married quickly.
Okay.
There's 18 chapters in total in Japanese, 2 books so far, and it's still ongoing. It came out and started in 2023, but it is goofy, silly, very funny. Fortunately, the person translating in English hasn't done anything for a month, so I don't know if we're going to get more or not. But hopefully it eventually comes out in English, because it is really funny and very stupid, seinen, fan servicey goofiness. So it's been great. And then finally, which is perfect because it's your first thing on your list, the thing I read before DanDaDan 13, because it also came out the same day, a Shangri-La Frontier 21.
Yep.
Oh my God. That's so good. Yes. It is the end of the Katarnid fight.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a couple post-battle chapters, but it's the end of the fight. Oh, yes. It's so good. It's such a good fight.
Yeah. It was not what I was expecting, but yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it gives, I don't know how much we can talk about it without spoilers, but like Saiger Zero, Rei, like her whole act in this, both her super attack and then what happens afterwards and all of that. It's a great fight.
Yes.
There's some really cool stuff that's hinted at, even just in this book, and that comes around in the end. Mm-hmm. Shangri-La Frontier continues to be just the best battle series out right now.
Yeah.
I'm so mad that we're caught up because I want them to release like 6 more books this year.
Yeah. Well, they'll probably release a couple more.
Yeah, we'll probably get 1 or 2 more this year.
Let's see. We got 20 this year.
20 and 21.
Probably get 2 more.
We'll get at least 1 more. We might get 2.
Yeah.
Because I think now we're caught up with the Japanese ones. So it's the rate that they're coming out.
Mm.
I think even though it's a weekly, because there's about 12 to 14 in a book, that's really only, that's like 3.5 books rather than 4. 3, 4, but we're not getting a lot. But it's really good.
Yeah. It's like, okay. But it ends like exactly when they win. So there's no after, talk about what happened. It's just win.
The fight is over.
Yes.
What happens from that is not.
Yeah.
But the fight itself is over. But it's such a good fight.
Yeah.
Oh my god. There's some crazy things happening. And it's now the official longest fight. Oh, so here's the thing we can talk about that's not spoilers. Because the Weathermon fight was amazing.
Yes.
Is this now better than the Weathermon fight?
I was thinking about that.
The correct answer is the cop-out answer of they're different.
Well, they are different.
Because they are different. Yeah, because the number of people and what's happening and all that. And it is the cop-out answer. And it is probably the correct answer. But I will say, I think Katarnid is now a better fight. It's very long.
Yes,
it's very long. But I think that every time something has come... I don't think the whole Katarnid of the Abyss arc is as good as the Weathermon arc. But the actual fight, once they start with Katarnid to the end of Katarnid...
Right.
That battle, I think, is better than Weathermon. Because even though it is even longer, it's still, every chapter is just as compelling. And if this one's longer, but every part of it is great, it's got to be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going back and forth because the Weathermon fight is really good because in the end, it's really just a one-on-one fight with Sunraku and Weathermon.
Yeah.
And it's just... The other 2 are there, but they're kind of doing their own thing with the horse.
Which is still a fun little fight.
Yeah, but it's very much... You see how 2 like high-level people fight each other, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
But then Katarnid is, okay, what do you do if you're actually fighting someone powerful with a group of people? And it's kind of like how the team coordinates and things like that. So it's like, they are very different, but I think I probably... The Katarnid fight it's long.
It is very long. Yeah, like Weathermon is a duel, Katarnid is a raid boss.
Yeah, Katarnid feels like this is a game that we're just going to go nuts and go crazy. Yeah, the Weathermon was very much focused. It's just these 2, and we're just going to go high-level techniques and things like that, whereas Katarnid is just a melee of craziness. But, like, the one thing that Katarnid does better is that the different forms are very unique, which is not what Weathermon had.
Yeah.
Like, Weathermon, you had to go in knowing how to defeat him.
Yeah.
Whereas Katarnid is, you just got to make it up on the fly.
Yep. And things just keep changing.
Yeah.
And Weathermon feels like, like you said, you have to go in knowing how to win, whereas Katarnid feels like a good player could walk in and figure this out on their first try, which I mean, obviously,
which is what happened.
But it's still interesting enough that it's a lot of, okay, you figure out this, okay, figure out this, okay, figure out this. It feels like a boss designed to work that way. Whereas Weathermon was just like, we're just going to be crazy. I mean, Weathermon they beat on the first try too, but because they had the research. But it was a lot of
Sunraku's first try. But the other people had been fighting it over and over again.
I look forward to when they fight the last Colossus, and it's a 23-book fight.
Yeah.
It's going to be the one fight longer than several comic series put together.
Yeah.
It's going
to be everyone in the game fighting. Just every character that's ever been in the show.
The one thing I will say that it does well is, like, there are a lot of people involved, but they all get their moments.
Yes. Yep.
And it's never like, oh, they're here, and then they do their part, and then they're out, and so they stop participating. They keep cycling through them over and over and over again. So it's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. The art's still amazing, and it's really good. And there's a ton of material, so this is going to go on for a while.
Yep.
This is not even close to being near the end, and pretty sure it's not even close to being over.
The web novel is not, I think, is only it's a good chunk ahead, but I don't know how far ahead it actually is, but...
Yeah, but the web novel's still going.
Web novel is still going, and I think there's still a good chunk ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else have you been up to? What else have you been reading?
Let's see. Yeah, so I read that. That was crazy. And then I read Dai Dark number 7, which I read Dai Dark number 6 a few weeks ago. A week or two ago.
Yep.
That one.
Makes sense.
And I was right. It was pretty much the end of an arc, and now starting a new one. So it's good. It kind of ends the idea of, so you know, because I know you've read some of them, but there's that group of people who worship the light.
Oh, yeah, from the very beginning.
So it kind of ends their story with the main characters, and now they're going on doing something else. And there are hints at Sahasako, the main character.
Okay.
Yep. So the book now starts hinting at, okay, because before you learned him growing up in the school and at space station, things like that, but now you're learning more about where he came from before that. And so that's being hinted at, and then there's, I don't want to spoil it too much because it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of lore in this book. And now that the Lighthead Order is the actual name, has now kind of, the main characters have defeated them, sort of. They're kind of pushed to the side, and now there's a new group that's not really taking their place, but who are kind of the new focus. So there's another group of characters coming in and things like that. So this is very much going into, now we're going to take it into another direction. But it's good. Yeah, I really like it. It's still the crazy Dai Dark kind of art story. So it's ridiculous to the max with all of its gruesome everything. But yeah, it's good. And then, because I had seen it and thought it was weird, I wanted to check it out. I read a story called My Dear Friend Nokotan.
Yep.
And it is weird. So I read just volume 1.
Yep.
Have you read this?
No, but I have it, and I keep thinking I should probably read this at some point because I'm sure it's very silly.
It is pretty much a complete comedy story through and through.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So the short answer is, there's a main girl. She's in 11th grade, I believe. She's walking to school. She's supposed to be top of the class or close to top of the class, perfect attendance, things like that. She has a dark secret that she's trying to hide, that she used to not be a nice person, but she's turning herself around. And on her way to school, she sees a person stuck in the power lines, and they have antlers. And it's like, what the heck is that? And she's like, I'm just going to keep going. This is kind of weird. And then the person with the antlers is like, is she just going to leave me here? And it's just like, how could you do that? So she rescues him, and they go to school, and it's, of course, a new transfer student who sits right next to her.
Yep.
And it's just an ongoing thing. Nobody notices that she has antlers. So you've probably seen this clip. There's a girl standing at a doorway to go into a classroom, and she's like, I don't fit. My antlers. So she just steps through and just bashes the doors down, and just things go flying, and nobody notices. And the main girl's like, what the heck is happening? How is no one reacting to this? And it's just crazy comedy shenanigans the whole time. You have to read it. I don't think I could properly explain it. It's weird. It's funny. It's weird. It's over the top. It's not slapsticky. There is slapstick in it, but it's more of like, there's a lot of situational comedy based on her being a deer, in quotes. She calls herself a deer. She acts like a deer. She eats deer crackers. But then everyone sees her as a person sometimes, but then they also see her as a deer sometimes. And the art is great because it has like the really goofy comedy style, but then it has the really serious, like hashed, like shadows and like big buff people. And it's like, okay, yeah, they're just going nuts with this story. It's hilarious. There's an anime for it. I haven't watched it, but yeah, if you like comedy, this is a goofy one, definitely to check out.
Okay, cool.
But it's like, okay, it starts off a little slow, and then once it kind of gets over the setting up who the main characters are and things like that, it just goes nuts with trying all the funny stuff. And yeah, it's it's funny. It's good. Definitely check it out. And then the last one, I haven't read it yet, but I have it in my hands, and I keep meaning to read it, but I've been too busy. It's Deadrock, the new Hiro Mashima story. Mishima.
Okay.
Hiro Mishima story, yeah.
No, I think you're right. Hiro Mashima.
Yeah, so I have it, I just haven't read it yet. So that will be next week. I will talk
Hooray!
About it. Yeah.
You've read the cover.
I've read the cover. I flipped through it really quick just to see it. Yeah, it's...
Red Dock.
Deadrock.
Red... Live Tree. Live Tree Volume 1.
Yes, Live Tree Volume 1. Yes. So just a couple for me this week.
Nice.
Yeah, but all good. My tier is weird. It's so weird. So for our main topic tonight, we're going to be doing a review of Frieren Beyond Journey's End, the first arc, which I believe most people call just Beyond Journey's End. This is done by Tsukasa Abe is the artist, and Kanehito Yamada is the writer. This review will cover chapters 1 to 13, so this is volume 1 and part of the second one.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, the short answer is that Frieren Beyond Journey's End is about an elf called Frieren, who travels through this world. The main themes are that she is incredibly old, and everyone else is not, except for a few characters that come up much later. Mm-hmm. So, Frieren is an elf mage. She's lived for, I think, at least 1,000 years.
Yes.
By the end of the first arc.
Yes, she's over 1,000 years old at the start of the series.
And a lot of the story is about her trying to understand what it's like to not be 1,000 years old, and trying to... It's very meta, because at the beginning of a lot of chapters, it says it's been so long since something's happened. And for Frieren, 10 years is considered like a nothing amount of time. Whereas 10 years to regular humans is regular. It's like, okay, that's 10 years. That's a big chunk of my life.
At the start of the series, 10 years is already just, as she puts it in one chapter, 1/100th of her whole life.
Yeah. Less than 1/100th. So it's not even that. Of her current
of
age
her life so
at that
far.
Moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's considered an old elf.
No.
So there's 2 time frames. This story takes actually 3 time frames so far. But the first major one is during the party that defeated the Demon King. So that includes Frieren, but the other main characters are Himmel the hero, who's a human. He is pretty much the hero adventurer of the party. There's Issak the warrior, who's a dwarf. He's, I would say stereotypical, but he is the main fighter of the group. Aizen's a sword fighter. Aizen is a warrior who fights with an axe. Himmel fights with a sword, and then I think it's pronounced Hider. Let's go with it.
I read it as Hider, but
I think it's
Hider
Hider.
makes sense.
All right, let's go with Hider. So Hider the priest, he is another human. He is a childhood friend of Himmel. So Himmel, while being the hero, is also he likes showing off, as in everyone knows he's the hero. And you learn about a lot of these as time goes on. There's a lot of going back and forth in perspective of time. So you go back to the original party, you go to the present day, and you go back and forth a ton of times throughout the story. Mm-hmm. And you learn, okay, so there's the 3 people who are the party, and then Frieren is the elf mage of the party. They defeated the Demon King. And this is where the story starts. Mm-hmm. They come back, they have defeated the Demon King, everyone throws this giant party. New era of peace, things are great, but because of that, their adventure is over. So the party disbands, off they go.
And the series ends. Wait, no.
Yes.
Series starts.
In page 5.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, Himmel's gonna go do hero things and kind of take it easy. Aizen's gonna go off and do his things. Hider's the... Hider.
I looked, in Japanese it's pronounced Haita, so probably Hider is the better pronunciation.
Okay, so we'll go with Hider. So Hider goes off to do priestly duties.
Like drinking?
So they also have a lot of quirks.
They have a lot of personality. Yes,
they're
all four of them.
very real characters. And Frieren also usually calls Hyder corrupt priest.
I think everybody calls him that.
That's true. Everyone in the party calls him that, just because he cannot stop drinking.
Yeah.
But that's where the story starts. It's like the main quest is over. Time for peace. We're all going to go kind of do our own things. And as this is happening, there's a once in every 50-year meteor shower. It's like, oh, this looks amazing. It's a big party. We're going to celebrate meteor shower. Awesome. Their 10-year journey is over. And they all, it's like, okay. Frieren's like, okay, oh, I know of a really good place we could watch this next time. And they're like, it's going to be in 50 years. Like, yeah, so?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So
we'll meet in 50 years and we'll go see the meteor shower again. All right? Okay, anyway,
exactly.
Bye. I'm going on a journey. I'll see you later.
Yep. Off she goes. So there's like a cutaway of they're all doing their own thing. Frieren's off just studying magic throughout the world. There's a lot of that where she is very, I wouldn't say obsessed, but she likes learning about magic. And there's reasons for that you find out much later.
Yep. We see a lot of it. She enjoys collecting random spells and finding different things. It's sort of, this is what I like to do kind of magic. And they vary from useful to incredibly useless.
Yes.
But it's like, it's still something unique, so I'll collect it. Sure, why not?
Right. So she likes collecting magic. They call it typically grimoires, which is a book of magic, but then sometimes there's folk magic, where people have just passed it down through oral tradition or have it written on a napkin or a piece of paper and things like that.
Yeah.
That's the things that she really likes to do, is find this kind of magic. So then in this first chapter, 50 years pass.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
This is still the first chapter, by the way.
Yep. So she shows up. It's like, hey, it's 50 years. Let's go see this meteor shower. And so does everybody else. Himmel's much older.
Much older.
Looks very different.
Yeah.
Issak looks pretty much the same because he's dwarf and they live longer than humans anyways. He is older, but he is 50 years is not nothing to him, but it's also not half his life. I think they live to a couple hundred.
Yep, that sounds about right.
And Hyder is a higher order in the priesthood, but he still shows up. So then they all take this journey out through the forest.
For a week. Yep.
So, just so you know, Himmel he was young-ish, but he wasn't like a child when
he was in his
they defeated the Demon
late
King.
teen. They started in his late teens, so he's in his late 20s.
Yeah. So and then 50 years on top of that. Yeah. So he's close. He's in his 60s at least, probably in his 70s. They go out, they have crazy meteor showers. Oh, this is the best thing ever. It's like, oh, I can't remember if they say we'll watch it again.
I think Frieren mentions that, and Himmel's kind of like, that's not happening, right?
Yeah.
I won't be here for that.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of the story is about her trying to understand how other races deal with time. Because to her, as you see just in this beginning of the first chapter, her concept of time is so different from everyone else. And that comes up a lot in the later chapters in this first arc.
I mean, yes, but also there's more specific part of it, but it'll be easier to explain that after what happens next. So go on.
So meteor shower happens, everyone's like, and then cut away, Himmel's dead.
Yeah, Himmel passes away.
He just passes away from old age. Nothing crazy happens. It's just it was his time, so he passed away. And then there's a big service because he is the hero of the party that defeated the Demon King that brought in this era of peace that everyone's celebrating.
Yep.
And because of that, they're all at a ceremony, and Hyder's there, Isak's there, Frieren's there. They all mourn their fallen comrade, and people start saying that why isn't the elf of the party, why doesn't she care? She's not sad or anything.
They do mention Isak too a little bit, but it's mostly about her.
He's like, she's not crying, she's not doing anything, she's just staring. And it's like, that's when she realizes that time has just slipped by. She's like, I had all this time to get to know him, and I feel like I hardly even know him.
Yep.
Because they spent 10 years together, and it meant a lot to him, but to her it was almost not the blink of an eye, but close to that. And now she regrets not getting to know him better. And that is pretty much what sets off the rest of the story.
Yeah. The thing that I wanted to add where you're like, oh, she wants to sort of understand like other races and everything. She does to some degree, but the majority of it is she wants to understand Himmel. Himmel specifically is a big part of it.
Yes.
There's a reason why not Hyder, which we'll get to in another second as well, but it is this moment of Himmel was this, and this was a big thing. It's not that it was a very short part of her life, but it's not that she doesn't realize, oh yeah, defeating the Demon King wasn't important. Like, no, she understands that, but it's also just like, oh, he's just gone, and he's not coming back, and trying to understand how humans live and react and deal with this time and all of these things. That's what's going to drive her to all of the next couple of things that are going to happen and is going to underpin a lot of what comes up.
Yep.
That's the only reason why it's like, it's not that she isn't interested in how dwarves and other people sees it, but Himmel is a big part of it.
Force that kicked all this story off.
And still is specifically an important part of it too. It's not just like, oh, Himmel's gone and now I've realized this and so I'm interested in everyone. It's still mostly going to be about Himmel.
Yes. So, after the ceremony, Hyder, Eisen go off. Frieren says she's going to go and try to learn more about what it means to be human and travel around and try to not be on her own all the time.
Yep.
20 years later.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of skipping. It doesn't skip
early
as much.
on. Yeah, there's a lot.
So, it doesn't skip as much going forward, but it still skips a lot. So, Frieren meets Hyder again 20 years later. He is sick. It's just old age, a lot of drinking. And
he has now stopped drinking.
He has stopped drinking, but he says that's one of the things that probably isn't helping him at this point. Years and years of drinking a lot, showing up to fights drunk or hungover. He is sober sometimes.
Yeah.
But at this point, he stopped drinking. He knows his time is coming. And so he's like, all right, I've kind of retired, so I'm just taking care of people. And you realize that there is someone else there with him. And her name is, I pronounce it Fern, but
I believe it's Fern. Yeah.
Fern. Yeah. So there's Fern. So I don't remember exactly how old she is, but she's a young child. Not really young, but youngish, probably early teens.
When you first meet her, she's like 10, 12.
10, around there. But she's an orphan due to, can't remember, is a war? But either way, she lost her parents, so Hyder took her in. But she has a real affinity for magic. So Hyder's like, hey, I have these magical books that you can research, but I also want you to take Fern on as an apprentice. And Frieren has never taken on apprentices before because they either get in her way or they just don't work. She's like, okay, it's not going to work out, is her big thing. But he's like, okay, I'll teach her while I'm doing this research for you. Mm-hmm. And so she's teaching how to use magic. The goal is that she has to perform a magical spell that damages a rock on the other side of this giant ravine.
Yep.
So she keeps trying. Frieren keeps giving her pointers, teaching her. So then 6 years go by. Fern is older. She actually becomes the apprentice. She spends the last moments with Hyder because this is now 6 years later and he is very much on his way out.
Yeah.
They spend their last moments together, so then Fern doesn't regret her time not talking to Hyder at the end, like Frieren did with Himmel.
Yeah.
That is one of Frieren's regrets, that she didn't talk to Himmel more, so she doesn't want Fern to have that same thing going forward. So Hyder passes away, and then they go on kind of a rambling adventure for a while, where they're just kind of going off. There's a bunch of stories where they're doing odd jobs in random villages. There's cleaning up beaches. There's all kinds of things. You realize that... So, besides the Demon King, there are plenty of other demons in the world. Mm-hmm. One of them that they meet that has been sealed away, the name is Zoltrak. So, Zoltrak was a high-ranking demon in the Demon King army. Created a spell called, I believe it's the Killing Spell.
Yes, the Killing Spell.
What it is a spell that will kill you, obviously.
Yep.
No one knew how to defeat it, So they
would
sealed
puncture
him
through
away.
any enchantment, any protective enchantment would just break right through.
So they sealed him away years and years and years ago. So they show up.
I believe it's 80 to 85 years ago at this point. Yep.
Yes, because it was during the trek.
It was early on in the 10-year journey.
Yes, that's right.
And at this point, it's been about 80 to 85 years. In the story, there's an exact number that you can check against, but it's in that range. I don't remember that off the top of my head.
Yep.
But yes.
But the spell that Zoltrak was put under is failing, so he will become free, and who knows what kind of damage he'll do.
And Frieren had promised to come back and deal with it at that time.
Right.
You find out a little interesting side note that Himmel would visit regularly to check on it. It's like, well, after I'm gone, I'm sure Frieren will come and remember it because she's not that bad at remembering things.
Mm-hmm.
But Frieren didn't show up to check on it until just now because it's just like, this is when it's going to break, so I'm just going to show up and take care of it.
Yeah. As they're doing their travels, Fern is still studying, and there's a lot of stories about her being taught. And one of the things that she's being taught is about Zoltrak. So Zoltrak created this unbeatable killing spell 80-ish years ago.
Yep.
And because of how time works in the story, people learned how to do Zoltrak's spell, and then humans with their ingenuity said, okay, how do we stop this? So they studied it for 80 years, and now they know how to defeat it. And it turns out that because of all this time that's gone by, this killing spell is now just called the generic attack spell.
Yeah,
It's
there's
just
a great
what
moment.
Everyone uses.
This entire time, Frieren has been talking about, like, oh, it's the killing spell. Oh, this thing, Zoltrak did this amazing thing and all this stuff. And she's doing it knowing exactly what's going to happen. But Fern is like, oh, God, okay, like, let me practice. Like, they're practicing the defensive spells and all this. And, like, they unseal him and he fires his spell. And Fern's just like, wait, that's just an attack spell. And then Frieren explains all of this of, like, in the 80 years, humans have figured this out. And it's just become normal. Fern's just like, oh. Yeah. And then they have the rest of the battle, and they had already prepared all these defenses for it. So it's just like, for Zoltrak, it's been about 4 minutes.
Yes.
Since their last fight, because she's been frozen in time. And then he comes back, and so now it's just Frieren and Fern, and he actually figures out immediately, like, how to counter what's their normal defensive things, but, it costs a lot of mana to block this. But they've already trained for it, and Fern is a talented enough mage that just puts up the shields to it, and then Frieren just blows him in half.
Yes, with his same spell.
Yeah, because it's just ordinary attack magic now. And that's going to be that sense of time passing and how things have evolved over the years. That's a huge theme of this story, and where a lot of the things go.
Because for the most part, for right now, Frieren was there when all of this started. So for her, it's like, yeah, that's how it is. That's just what it is. I was there when it happened, and I'm still here, and obviously that's how long it takes. It's like, okay, but the humans took all that time and studied and worked on it and did all these things and beat an unbeatable killing spell in 80 years.
Yeah.
Or who knows how long it would have taken Frieren to figure it out.
And I think the other part of it, too, was you also have to think about it in the way that it's presented there, too, is imagine it's like Napoleonic eras, and then somebody just shows up with an AK-47.
Yeah.
And then they beat him up and put him in prison, but they take the gun, and it's like, everyone is going to stop, and everyone was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And people threw themselves at trying to figure this out. Frieren talks about this. There were huge research projects and things done to figure out how to deal with it. Right. It wasn't just, normal passage of time. There was effort. There was work put into it.
Yes.
But in that 80-year time, it's become ordinary.
Yep.
Which sort of just is the passing of time. 80 years is a long time. Unless you're Frieren.
Unless you're an elf, yeah. Or a demon.
Or Eisen, maybe. Kind of.
80 years is probably nothing for him. But one thing that is talked about sort of at this point is demons. Demons are their own separate race. They, as we know before, they were at war with everyone. But they are really good at magic. and that is a big part of who they are. So this Zoltrak was the killing spell expert. So a lot of demons focus on certain techniques, and that was one. And this was the first demon I believe Fern had met.
Yes.
Yes. And that's why they were doing all this to prepare. Demons as a race are very... You learn about this a little later. They're very prideful about their magic, which is why Zoltrak was the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't, in his wildest imagination, contemplate that someone could beat his killing spell. And that is why he was defeated. Because people took the time to defeat him.
Not quite that. I wouldn't say that he thought they could never beat it, because they do beat it, and he doesn't react by just going, "What? That's impossible." Blah.
True.
He goes, "Oh, you figured out how to do this with this defensive spell," and he immediately pieces together.
Yes.
Okay, this is how you're doing it. Oh, well, this must be one of the rules of it. Is it's expensive and things like that. Which, at the same time, they are also that. I just think for Zoltrak specific, he also dies so fast. You kind of don't get much sense for him.
Yeah, that's true. He's awake for all of like 10 seconds.
Yeah, his on-screen time is very short. Yeah. And while demons are very prideful in certain things, there are much better examples of that coming up after the arc we're covering, where they talk about it more.
Yep.
But they're prideful, but they're not stupid.
Right. Yes.
And they're very talented. So I think that's not that you're wrong, but like,
no, that's fine.
If you didn't get killed so suddenly, it might have been an actual fight, but it was just like, oh yeah, we blocked it. All right, bang, you're dead.
Yeah, and it's like, it did
last
long.
Yeah, that whole sentence of like, it's been 80 years, and now this demon that everyone was terrified with, the party of the hero that defeated the Demon King, couldn't do it. Now, just their mage and their apprentice show up and just curb stomp. Okay. That's a lot. That's a big change.
Yeah. And I believe at this point it is now 26 years after Himmel's death, which is 50 years after the defeat of Demon King. So this is now 76 years from when the story started.
Yep.
So then 2 years later, there is some more going on.
Mm-hmm.
You learn about Frieren's master, the great mage Flam. What this is about is learning, because she's considered one of the founding creators of magic for humans. So she is, think of her as the first real human mage who started teaching other humans magic. So she is the start of all of human magic society everywhere. She might not have been the first, but she is the most well-known. So they learn about a book of Flam that is locked away somewhere. So she's like, okay, we're going to go find this. And while they're doing this, they find Aizen again. So he is in this forest. I can't remember if this is where he lives.
They're passing through and they meet him, but he mentions that there's this place that may have this book.
Yes, that's what it was.
Flam has come up a few times and it's been like, oh, it's a book by great mage Flam, and it's like, yeah, it's probably a fake. Yeah, and it turns out it's a fake. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's probably a fake. Yeah, it turns out to be a fake. This one, I was like, yeah, it's locked away under a great tree. It's like, this one might not actually be fake.
Yeah.
And so he leads Frieren and Fern to this place.
Yep.
Aizen takes them there, and they find this sort of like a temple type structure under a tree.
Yeah, it's a very simple house.
Yeah, and Frieren goes in, and in fact, there is a book from the great mage Flam, a real one, an actual one, and the book is there, just sitting, floating, open to a specific page, almost.
Yes.
Almost as if it's been on purpose. And Frieren goes in and looks at the book, and it basically comes down to, hey, did you know there's a place where you can go and speak with the dead if you go to this place, also known as the northernmost point on the continent? And Frieren, who was Flam's apprentice, is like, she literally left this here for me to find.
Yep.
1,000 years later.
Yep.
God damn it. You frickin' frickety frick. How did you know
Yeah.
that this is what I was going to want? And then, oh yeah, also, Frieren then points out, by the way, the northernmost point, yeah, that's where the Demon King's castle is.
Yeah. And Aizen's like, yeah, that's back where we were before.
Yeah.
But supposedly, if you go there, you can speak with the dead.
Yes.
So thus, giving them an actual destination for their random wandering. So like, okay, we gotta go that way. And she offers Aizen to come with them, but he says no.
And this is actually the end of the first book, too.
Yes. Yep.
This particular part is the end of the first book. And it does give the whole journey a purpose. Doesn't get talked about very much. To the point that until I reread this for this week, I had completely forgotten that that's why they were going where they were going.
Really?
I was just like, and at that point, because it had been so long, and it's just sort of like, it had felt more like it's a road trip movie of like, let's go back to everywhere that we had gone on the first to see everything again. And like, this will help me figure it out. I forgot that, oh yeah, when you get to the Demon King's castle, hey, you can also speak to the dead.
Yes. Yep.
It was more of, it tends to be a lot of them going and being there and visiting these locations again to get a sense of what it was like back when it was the heroes party and bring these memories back up for Frieren. Whereas, oh yeah, but actually there's a point at the end of all of this.
Yes. Yeah. Because before now, they were just kind of wandering around aimlessly. It's like, okay, let's go this way. Let's go that way.
Yep.
But now they have a destination, so they start heading towards the former Demon King's castle, which is way north.
Yep.
Bitter cold area. Mm-hmm. They still haven't gotten there so many books later. You have two mages. Aizen's not going with them. They're like, okay, we need someone to fight with us. We need a warrior of something, or things like that. You need a party of warrior, priest, mage. That's what we need to get there. Because this is going to be a long journey. We need help.
Yep.
So Aizen says to go check out his apprentice, who is not too far. And this person is named Stark. Stark is a warrior. He is holed up in this little village. Nearby there is a giant dragon who Frieren and Fern go take a look at. Yep. And they're like, nope, not touching that. And go away.
There's a great moment where Frieren and Fern are looking at it. It's like, okay, let's try taking a shot at it and see what happens. Fire this bolt of magic, and it just bounces off. And Frieren is like, okay, that's not working. The dragon like gets up and starts moving towards, like, okay, well, it's time to leave. Fern's like, what? Huh? What? Ah! And then runs away.
Yeah, because the dragon swoops at them.
Yeah.
Because, of course, the dragon has all kinds of treasure and things like that Frieren wants. Like, oh, they have so many books over there.
Yes.
Because that's really what she's after, because of the horde of the dragons. So they go to where this village is, and it's like, this dragon's been here for a while. Why is it not messing with this village? And then you find out the reason it's not messing with them is because of Stark. He stood up to it, and that's why the dragon isn't coming. It's like, okay, I stood up to the dragon. Everyone thinks Stark is the hero. He doesn't think so. You realize that he thinks he's incredibly weak. He is a coward. He wanted to run away from the dragon, but was too scared. Yeah. But for some reason, the dragon didn't mess with anyone since he's been there, so he's staying to kind of watch over the village.
Yep. And so he turns to Frieren and is like, look, I'll help you. And my master thinks that, like, it would be good to help you. And, like, that's fine. But can you help me get rid of this dragon? Because I can't possibly do it. Mm-hmm. And you meet Stark along this cliffside with this huge, like, V-shaped gouge cut into it. Yeah. And what you find out is this giant V-shaped gouge is just every night when he's training, he's just attacking the cliff with his long-handled axe and has cut this giant wedge into this wall of stone. Yeah. It's like, and then Frieren, like, meets him in a meeting, like, okay, yeah, you're really powerful. And Frienden's like, I don't get it. I don't understand. And then she sees him train. It's like, I understand.
Yes. There's just a giant explosion every time he hits the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the next day, they're just like, okay, you're going to go down there, soften the dragon up. We'll blast it with magic. Don't worry about it. We'll keep you safe.
We can defeat it, but you need to hold him off for 30 seconds.
Yeah. While we get ready.
Like, oh God, I don't know if I could do that, but all right.
Yeah.
If it'll save the village, I'll try.
Yep. Because he never wanted to attack the dragon. He just wanted to defend the village.
Yeah.
And
because it's a dragon.
Yeah. He's like, that's no way I could beat a
giant
dragon.
solar dragon.
Yeah. I forgot it's the solar dragon. Long story short, there's a fight. It doesn't last very long. Because Stark annihilates it.
Again, humor in the series is on point, but it's like, yeah, he the dragon lunges at him and he swings back with his axe and he's freaking out, like, Frieren, hurry up, do something. And Frieren's just walking over, he's like, Frieren, what are you doing? Why did you stop? It's like, Stark, look at the dragon. And he looks back at the dragon. Dragon's dead already.
Yeah,
he didn't even realize he killed him in his first hit.
Yeah.
Frieren then points out dragons are really smart. You stood up to the dragon and were terrified. But the dragon was looking at you and was like, oh, hell no, I'm not fighting this guy.
Yeah.
Because Stark is incredibly strong. He's just very scared.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a really good part to that, which is Aizen, in a couple of different scenes of Aizen talking to Frieren before they meet, flashback of Aizen and Stark together, and then Stark later talking about how Aizen taught him, and Aizen, the warrior dwarf, was like, I am always scared, but that's what kept me alive.
Right.
His master was never one to be like, you shouldn't be scared. It's like, you should be terrified. These things are scary.
Yeah.
But you still stand and fight.
Yep.
And there's a moment where Stark talks about the one time that Aizen hit him, and it was like, oh, he was so mad at me for what I did because I disobeyed him and I didn't do what he asked, and
that's why he left.
And see a flashback of Aizen talking to Frieren about it, and there was one time where we had a disagreement and I hit him because I was absolutely terrified because he's so freaking powerful.
Yeah.
And it was Aizen was scared of him and so could not help himself and just punched him.
And Aizen is not a weak person.
Aizen was in the heroes party.
Yeah.
He was their main frontline warrior.
He is very strong.
He's incredibly powerful. And he's Stark is terrifyingly strong.
Yeah. So they defeated the dragon. She gets some books. She gets
Fern yells at Frieren to only take 3 things.
Yes. She wanted a lot more. But yeah.
There's so much to take.
So then Stark does agree to join, now that the dragon's taken care of, and then off the 3 of them go on their merry adventure. And that is where the first arc ends. Yeah,
there's a couple more chapters, but that's of the arc. But they're more small stories and
true.
And things like that, where it's because that's the major plot ending. Chapter 13, there's minor plots of stuff, and then 14 is the next big specific event.
Yeah,
this is a series where there's a lot of small single chapter stories.
Yep. Once the later arcs show up, there's a lot more of, okay, this is all just one continuous story. But at the beginning, there's a lot of one-off chapters, just kind of getting to know the characters, learning about the world, seeing how they interact with each other, because they're going from village to village to village, meeting all kinds of characters. It's okay, Frieren was here years and years ago, so you see flashbacks to when she was first there, when Himmel was there, when they're there now, and there's a lot of back and forth throughout the story, different points in time and things like that. You see how, because sometimes you see, oh, this person was a young child, and now they're an old man. That's the same character.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a great one in one of the chapters where it was there's a little kid in one, they flash back to it, and it's he's a 7-year-old kid, and now he's an 87-year-old man. Mm-hmm. So it's oh, yep, it's you.
So that's the first arc. I can't remember how many episodes of the anime it is, but it's really good. It's really well portrayed in the show.
The manga as well. It knows the right length of time to spend on any one thing.
Yes.
And it knows how to show the passage of time really well. One thing that I had forgotten and rereading it, and you see a lot even as the series goes on, but you see a lot especially in the early on, there's a lot of great time passing scenes. Mm-hmm. And then these 5 or 6 single panel little vignettes, little stories of things happening. And there's no dialogue, it's nothing. And it's just Frieren and someone else doing something. Yes. And a lot of them are very silly.
Yes.
but these like 5 panels could be covering anything from like 35 minutes to 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
In that same length of time, like in one chapter, I think where this is after Fern and Frieren's journey begin, and it's like Fern has just been talking about how much she has to do to take care of Frieren, and it's like dragging her back into the bed, helping her change, fixing her hair, cleaning up the room, putting stuff away. And it's these 5 little panels just showing this whole thing. And then but in like 3 chapters before that, it was Fern, Hyder, and Frieren as like Fern is learning magic, and it's like them out at a river, Fern learning this spell, Frieren getting caught up in some vines in the middle of the forest, getting saved by them. And it's just the same like 4 or 5 short little vignette panels, but that's like 5 years.
Yep. Yeah, because there's another time when it's just Fern and Frieren, and they're in a village. He's like, oh, well, we'll stay here for, I don't know, 6 months, at least another 6 months. And Fern's like, 6 months? We've been here for a couple months already. Why are we still here? It's like, we've been here.
Yep.
It's like, oh, no, it won't take long. I don't know, 6 months. 6 months is not nothing.
There's one of the side stories that comes up in the part at the end of this that we skipped over is they're getting to, after Stark has joined, they get to the border checkpoint, and like no one's been allowed through for like 2 years, and Frieren's like, oh, well, I guess we'll work on it. We'll spend a couple of weeks. We'll take some time on it. And Fern is like freaking out. It's like, Stark, we need to figure out how to get through this. Frieren says she's going to take time and relax. We might be here for 1 or 2 years. And so they go off on this whole adventure to try to get through. Mm-hmm. And the best part of it is one of the nobles realizes Frieren is here and just lets them through.
Yeah.
And so like the next day they get through and they're just like, oh, okay. Well, I guess we solved it. The last panel is just Frieren like, I wanted to study magic.
Yes. Another thing that has come up, because everyone knows about the Heroes Party. And a lot of things in this arc and in the future arcs is there's a lot of statues and shrines and things like that set up for the Heroes Party. So it's like, okay, they're celebrated everywhere.
Yep.
But because of that, people have their own kind of ideas of how the party was and how they're celebrated, and there's a lot of misinformation. And it's interesting to see, okay, as they're moving through, it's like, he didn't actually think that way, or he did, for some reason, spent 2 days trying to pose for this statue. And
Yeah.
So Himmel was trying to show off a lot.
Yep.
He took his role very seriously, but he wanted everyone to know that he was the hero. So it's like, you can make another statue for me here. Is this a better pose? They were a group of characters.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this story does really well. It portrays them as people instead of... Because you have the dwarf, the priest, the hero, the mage. They could very much fall into that archetype of, they're just those generic things. But while they are also very real. They feel like real people.
They very much are their tropes, although Hyder as the priest is the slightly corrupt drinking priest.
Yes.
Although that is also a very common trope.
Yes.
They're these very common JRPG tropes, but they're also more than that.
Yeah.
And even though the beginning is a lot of, Hyder is more than that as he's gotten older. And Aizen the Warrior, while he's super powerful, he's also someone who's very often afraid.
Right.
And things like that. Even going forward, they feel like people. There's not just that. And there's lots of little details and parts to it. And a lot of the things that they show back, because you're mostly seeing from Fern's perspective, from Frieren's perspective, you see a lot of them. They had to put up with you a lot, didn't they, Frieren? It's like, she's remembering, like, they kind of did.
She is not a morning person.
She's not a morning person. The very famous thing from this, where she's always gets caught by mimic treasure chests. You start seeing that happen here because they pass through a couple, but it's not explained yet. Mm-hmm. But that pose of her just like face forward, like butt straight up in the air. Oh my God. Now that I'm rereading it, that pose, she does that so often.
Yes.
That shows up in like every chapter somewhere. Mm-hmm. Like Frieren face down in the dirt. Like completely, and it's like the most powerful mage from the Heroes Party and one of the most powerful mages to ever exist, and it's just like, just completely just face planted into the floor or the dirt or the woods.
Or, yeah.
Or was on the bed, rolled out of bed, and rolled across the room.
Yes. As a little worm. But yeah, there's a lot of really cute art. There's a lot of really good art. There's a lot of big nature scenes. There's like the very last picture of the first book is the demon castle. And it's just a 2-page spread of this giant castle. I guess it's not the last page, the second last page.
It's the end.
It's pretty much
it's part of it.
Yeah.
Pretty much the end. There's a huge spread of it.
But there's so much nature. There's just fields of flowers. There's old castles. So if you really like art, this does a really good job of portraying characters. They do goofy faces. They do goofy scenes. They're also very serious. So it's really good. And it gets better as it goes on.
Yeah. I think that's another thing, the goofy faces and stuff. It's a series that's very good at switching back and forth between serious and thoughtful and stupid and hilarious and ridiculous and modest and empathetic. It jumps back and forth very easily, partly because Frieren is this incredibly calm, collected, but emotionally distant person who still acts like a doofus quite a lot in different situations, being completely unable to wake up in the morning or getting extremely sidetracked by all these different things, or just saying something really silly, or being like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know if we really want to help you. It's like, we'll give you this book. What does it do? Oh, it's a spell that allows you to clean bronze statues. Like, we'll take it.
It's like, why would
it's like, I haven't even told you what you wanted yet. It's like, I don't care. I want it.
Yes.
And the story can move back and forth between these very heavy topics and this very lighthearted story within the same page, even multiple times. And it just flows very well. That there's something really special in that, and just how well it can put that narrative together. The art's great. The writing's great. The humor's great. The character's great. It's just great.
It's really good. It was my top one for last year.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
think it was. Was it on your list?
Agree.
I forget.
It was not, because I have not read it until this year.
Ah, that's right.
Because now that I've read it, and I've read so much more than this, and I've read other things that have done these sorts of themes in different ways, I don't know. It's still a. Because you're like, it was your number one for last year. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I would say that. But that's not really the right way to put it. The right way to put it is, who would I not recommend this to? And it's basically no one. Everyone should try this series. It's, if you haven't experienced this kind of story about dealing with time passing, which this story does really well, and then also adding on to it the narrative thing that you can have of, what about people who experience time differently? This is such a good example of that kind of story.
Yes.
And even if you have experienced that before, even if you have seen stories like that, this one is done so well, and that kind of a story is so rare, it's worth your time to see, even if it's maybe not the thing you think you're going to enjoy, because it's done with a lot of grace, a lot of empathy, and a lot of humor throughout. None of those things ever stop. It never becomes this or that.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic series.
I think there are... The 13th book just came out in English. There are 14. I don't know when the 15th will come out.
There is some chapters that haven't been collected into the 15th book yet, but the series is currently on hiatus. We don't know when it's coming back.
First season of the anime came out last year. The second season is coming out in January of 26. If you don't know, the first season just won a ton of awards at the Crunchyroll 2025 award show.
Yep. Best drama, best backgrounds.
Yep. It's really good.
And director and supporting character too.
Yes.
Apparently.
It's done really well. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
So that's the first arc. The next arcs The one thing that, as the series goes on, that is in the first arc but isn't in the later arcs, is the amount of time that changes. So there's not going to be a lot of 50 years later kind of things anymore.
Yeah.
It's now been another year, or every now and then there's another year that's gone by. The amount of time skipping goes down into the future. There's still a ton of, we're going to go look back in time, what happened before so many years ago, because there's a lot of back and forth between the party that she's in now, the party that she was in with the hero party, and then there's more of going back and looking at what she learned from Flom in that time frame, because Flom was 1,000 years ago and Frieren was not. She looks exactly the same.
Yeah,
she looks exactly the same.
I think that's the one other thing I'll say about this series, to jump back to something I said a couple of weeks ago with a different series that I had read. Enough with the Snow Life, I was reincarnated as a high elf and now I'm bored.
Yes.
Which is another series that the beginning of both of these series is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Frieren, it doesn't stop talking about the sense of time passing and understanding how different people live and the past and what happens after and what is left behind after these things that we do. But it doesn't cross time nearly as quickly. Multiple chapters in the first book cover longer stretches of time than the entire rest of the series.
Yes.
I don't think it's been an entire year from the course of book 2 to 14. It might have been a year, maybe year and a half, but it hasn't been much longer than that.
No, it's a couple of years at most.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean it stops talking about these things and dealing with it. And there's lots of flashbacks and lots of different moments of looking back at what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
But that sort of watching someone who's moving through this long stretch of time, that goes away. And so if you're really looking for that sort of fades away. But what it's replaced with, where it's more of this adventure, more of seeing what's happened after all this time, after this other thing, that the 10-year journey to be the heroes and saving the day, and then going back and seeing it again. If you want that long time passing constantly, that fades away after this first arc. But that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. That's really what you want. There are other series out there that cover it more. Making Magic, I know an Infinite MP Loophole, the Isekai, and Reborn as a High Elf that I just mentioned. Those both focus a lot on people who are immortal or nigh immortal passing through time and seeing people go around them, which is an interesting story in and of itself. But Frieren is about more than that. And even when it gets to this point where it's covering days, hours over the course of a few books, it's still this interesting and unique thing. It also gets much more specific. This first book is a lot of, we go off on an adventure in this town, and then we go to the next town, and then we go to the next town. Whereas going forward, they become more of this goes to this, goes to this. I think you had said it as much more like directed, things connect to each other more. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the beginning, it's more of like, we showed up at this town, and there's this interesting story we're going to tell here. But it kind of doesn't directly connect to anything on either end other than the general conceit of the story.
Yes.
Not good or bad in either way, just different.
Yep. It's really good. You should definitely check it out.
It is really good. And even when it changes, and I think the next arc is probably the most jarring change, and then it sort of evens out between them. The second arc is much more
demon focused,
classical shonen, seinen type adventure.
Yep.
And then after that, it gets back more into this groove of it finds a way to mesh these two into a much better story, still having these adventures and interesting escapades, but also trying to square the circle of here's someone who lived for 1,000 years working with someone who's only lived 15.
Right. It's good. I highly recommend it.
It's so good. Absolutely recommend it. Every single person should at least try this. And the first couple chapters, it's just an absolutely amazing series.
Yep.
Well, with that, thank you everyone once again for listening to this episode of the Mudai Manga Book Club podcast. If you'd like to listen to us or see us do other things that we do, you can find us on YouTube at Mudai Manga Book Club Podcast, on Podbean and other podcasting apps, including iTunes, and other locations at Mudai Manga and Book Club. You can also follow us on Blue Sky at Mudai Manga Book Club, where we post when the new episodes come out, as well as... Actually, that's it. I'm trying to do stuff. I'm not much of a social media person. I'm not much of a social person. I'm not much of a person, honestly. But
you'll get there eventually.
You can also find us. Yes. Someday I'll be a real boy. Also, if you'd like to reach out to us, questions, comments, rants, or anything else, you can reach us at mudaimangabookclub@gmail.com. And like I said before, if you want to like, subscribe, leave a comment, or anything like that through your podcasting app, through YouTube, at Blue Sky, on Blue Sky, anything, we'd love to hear from you all. And thank you very much again for listening. But with that, it is now the recommending time. So, Louie, you can wait because I'm going to go first because mine's stupid and short. And I don't care. So, this week, I want to recommend something completely different. Gyudon. Also known as gyumeshi. It is a Japanese dish.
Oh.
It is thin sliced beef and onion cooked in soy sauce and a couple other things on top of a bowl of rice. If you're like me and you played a lot of Persona 3 and 4, you probably remember the shop with it. But I literally just want to say this because I'm so hungry for gyudon for like the last 3 weeks. It's such a great food. I just want to recommend everyone to go out and try it. If you're living in the United States and you're near some big cities, there's a Japanese company called Yoshinoya, which is the oldest gyudon chain in Japan, established in 1899.
Wow.
They do have some stores in the US and other places around the world. It is no longer the biggest. That is Sukiya, but that is not available in America or Europe. It's only in Asia, which is unfortunate because I like it better than Yoshinoya. But Yoshinoya exists too. But it's a really simple Japanese food dish. It's simmered beef and onion on a bowl of rice. I really like it with cheese.
Okay.
But that's been my favorite. But I just want to say, hey, if you haven't had this, you should go try that. That's my recommendation for you this week. Go get that.
So you're hungry?
Maybe next. It's not even that I'm hungry. Like, I've literally been looking at pictures of this for the last 3 days. I just haven't had it in so long. I really want it. And the other thing that's really great is it's like when you go to places like Yoshinoya and Sukiya in Japan, like it's cheap.
Yeah.
It's beef and it's cheap. It's that really thin shabu shabu yakiniku, like thin sliced beef and just tamanagi, just yellow onion chopped up into big pieces, simmered, cooked, and then on rice. It's just good.
I know
Food does not have to be complicated.
I know I've seen it. I can't remember if I've ever actually had it. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think when I was in Japan, I don't think we had it.
It is, in Japan, it's considered like fast food, like cheap, easy, inexpensive food. So it's not like if you went out to any nice place to eat, you probably wouldn't see it. Although if you're in the US, a lot of Japanese restaurants will have it or have something like it. I guess I'm going to give away the other two things I was thinking of. There is also butadon, which is just that, but with pork instead of beef.
Okay. Yep.
Or my favorite, although it's more unique and it's a very different flavor, is oyakodon, which is chicken and egg.
Okay.
Instead of beef.
Yep.
And it's also great because the name is literally parent and child bowl.
Which makes sense.
Which always makes me not so hungry for it. But then I eat it and it's like, it's really good.
Oh no.
But it's like chicken cooked in egg with sauce and stuff too. It's not just like scrambled egg and chicken bits on top of a bowl of rice. That's the reason why I picked gyudon, because gyudon is really simple. It's just simmered beef and onion in the sauce that you then just pour it on top of the oyakodon and butadon. You have to cook it right. So
now I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Next time I can, I will.
So that's my recommendation for the week.
Yeah, I will try it.
How about you?
So I am going to recommend a show I've been watching. It's called The Has Been Hotel.
I have heard of this, but I've never seen it.
It is the original pilot was created on a YouTube channel called Vizipop. They created Has Been Hotel. They created what was the other big show? Hell of a Boss. Theme is the main character and for the most part, all the characters live in hell for Has Been Hotel.
Okay.
The idea is that the main character is the princess of hell. She is trying to create a way for souls in hell to redeem themselves enough to go to heaven. So she feels bad for all of the souls in hell and is trying to find ways to make them be better people. And these people are not the greatest, as you could probably guess.
Okay. Yep.
So that's her goal. She's created this hotel to find and help people redeem their souls. That is the original idea. As it goes on, things get in the way, no one's ever done this before. And then one of the things you learn in the very beginning of the show is that every year, heaven's angels come down and just start killing demons.
Yep.
So it starts off right after one of these has happened. It's like, okay, all of these demons, all of these souls have been destroyed. And she's trying to okay, I want to help people so this doesn't have to happen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where the show goes, because there's crazy characters. There's a really cool demon called the Radio Demon. His name is, Alistair. He is the Radio Demon. He is pretty much the demon of radio, which is weird. Because there's a demon of television, there's all kinds of other demons. But he is, I would say, the sponsor of this hotel. He's a demon lord.
Okay.
So, he is a crazy character. But, so there's all these demons. She is trying to help them do good, become better people. And it's all of that going on. And then the angels are some of them think it's a good idea. Some of them are very much against the idea, and some of them know more than they're letting on, because you see all the different perspectives. Every episode has at least one musical number, sometimes two. So the original pilot is on YouTube at the Vizipop YouTube channel. The first season of the show is on Amazon Prime. Okay. The first episode and the pilot episode the characters are the same, but they're different. So it's kind of like they redid the first episode, and now it's on Amazon Prime. Because this was originally, it is still like an independent animation studio. So thus, so Hell of a Boss is set in the same universe, but that's only on YouTube. I believe it's actually going to go on Amazon Prime at some point. They're going to do a simultaneous slight delay. We're going to put it on Amazon Prime first, and it will go to YouTube. Whereas Has Been Hotel, the original pilot is on YouTube, but the actual season of the show is Amazon Prime. It's really good. It is violent. There's a ton of profanity in it. There's a lot of
you don't say
drugs, mature content. I think it's
what in hell?
Yeah, heaven looks very different. But yes, it all takes place in hell, so there's all that. But it's good. It's really good. It's really interesting.
Cool.
I have one episode left. There's a lot of things hinted at. There's a lot of things that keep you guessing what's going to happen next. Everyone has real motivations. It's like, okay, why are they doing this? Some of them you kind of know now. Some of them are like, he's plotting something, but I can't figure out what it is yet. So it's interesting. It's cool. Definitely check it out. The first season, I believe they're making another season. Let me check. Yes. Second half of 2025. Nice. So it hasn't been, I don't know if there's an actual date yet, but I think sometime later in 2025, season 2 will come out.
Later this year. They're planning on releasing it. Nice. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. So it's a cool show. I definitely recommend it. Check it out. It's cool. You can just watch the pilot on YouTube. That's free if you don't have Amazon Prime. It kind of gives you the rough idea. But it's a little different from the actual show.
Cool.
So what's up for next week?
Well, with that, that's going to be an episode. Tune in next week where we'll be doing something that we haven't decided yet, by which I mean we're going to be bringing back our small topics from earlier in the series, and we're going to do a bunch of short little discussions and things. So next week will be a giant small topic extravaganza, and I don't know why I'm doing this. Oh, wait, I know, because I'm coughing a lot. My voice is really weird, so I'm going to talk like this.
That'll probably make it worse.
Okay, I'll stop doing that. Tune in next week. We're going to be doing a bunch of different little things, so have some exciting stuff, and then we'll be back to our regular reviews back after that episode.
Okay.
So, oh, I'm sorry. I've been recovering from being sick for a week. Thanks.
You're welcome.
God damn it. Well, with that, everybody, thank you very much once again for listening. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Peace. Anything you want to add, or you want to?
No, it's really good. I really like it. I can't wait for the next book to come out.
Yeah, same. Yeah, absolutely incredible.
Go read it. It's good.
Yeah, go now, right now. Pause the episode.
Yeah.
Well, no. Finish the episode.
Finish the episode. There's not that much time left.
Like, subscribe, comment, give us 5 stars, do all of that, then go read it, then come back and listen to all the episodes again,
Just for fun.
3 times. Please.
Please listen to the episodes.
Please listen. Hurry up, internet.
Yeah, you should probably rest your voice.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just all of a sudden gotten weird in the last 30 seconds.
Well, it's been stupid hot out.
And I don't want to cough into the microphone like this.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great.
I don't know if that actually helped. Actually, it feels like it helped. That's the weird thing. I think that actually helped.
I have to do it right in front of the microphone.
I think it was specifically doing it in front of the microphone is what helped. If I had just done it somewhere else, no, nothing. Mm-mm.